Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Triangle BNI. My name is Mike Manning, and each week we bring you members of Triangle BNI that are successful business people in the community. They have great stories to tell about how they got started, how they use BNI to help grow their business, and we look forward to bringing you those stories each week. If you've never been to a BNI meeting, BNI stands for Business Networking International. It is the world's largest networking organization, and there are chapters all over the world. And our little slice of heaven here in the Triangle, and if you're not from around here, it's Raleigh, Durham, and Chapel Hill in the central part of North Carolina. Called Triangle BNI. There's about 40 chapters, over 700 members. Steve Hand is the executive director, and plenty of things to do to help you start a business or grow your business. And our guest with us today from Liberty Mutual Insurance is Brianna Postlethwait. Brianna, glad to have you here
Hi,
today.
thanks for having me.
So each week at BNI, there's a featured speaker, 5 minutes or 10 minutes, depending on the size of your chapter. And the way they introduce people is with the member bio sheet. So we're going to start with that for you today. Okay. So so Brianna Postlethwait, you are with Liberty Mutual Insurance
Yes.
in Raleigh.
Yes.
Okay. Years in the business.
I have been with Liberty Mutual since June of last year, so a little over a
All
year.
right. Glad to hear that. Previous types of jobs.
So I was a general manager for a franchise group. We had 5 different brands that we tried to promote. Nestle Toll House being one,
Oh,
Haagen-Dazs. Yeah, Haagen-Dazs. Put those together, right? Haagen-Dazs, Annie Ann's, and my job was to hire, fire, train, promote, and sell.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So what other types of jobs? Let's go back to high school. Those are some of the more fun stories to hear about.
So that was my first job, my first real job. I did a smoothie job where I just, worked at South Point slinging smoothies, and then I started working with Haagen-Dazs. After about 6 months with the company, they realized my initiative and promoted me to assistant manager.
Very nice.
And then it was about a month that I did that before they were like, "You can handle a whole store." And then it was maybe 6 months after that, I had 3 that I was working with. So,
Okay.
yeah.
This was in college or after college?
This was in high school.
High school. Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
so 16, 17, freshman year of college, I realized I could not offer 55 hours a week and still be a successful freshman. So I kind of bowed away from that position and served until I graduated.
All right.
Yeah.
And you were born and raised in Durham, and you went to Peace College.
I went to Meredith College.
Sorry about that. We
Yes,
talked
I
about that
did.
earlier. My bad.
I went to Meredith.
Okay. Spouse.
No,
Okay. Kids.
no. I have
Okay.
2 sweet, adorable
Here we
puppies,
go.
though.
Now, yeah, I
Yes.
love
got
the
my
no, but here are my kids. Yeah.
No, but my puppies are my children, so
Okay. What kind of dogs?
I have an Akita Hound mix and a Brindle Pit Bull, Hemi and Stella,
All
5
right.
and 3.
All right. How'd you come up with the names?
Hemi because I wanted a truck in college, and that was not going to happen, so I named him Hemi.
Okay.
And Stella because she needed something not scary for a pit bull, and
Okay.
Stella seemed
All
sweet
right.
enough.
All right. So hobbies and activities of interest.
So I like to read. I like to shop online and add a bunch of things to my cart and purchase them never. And I also like to do extreme couponing where I actually a little bit purchase
All right.
things.
So let's talk about that. How'd you get into that, and what's the secret to couponing?
So I got into extreme couponing by I'm not sure. I struggled to do grocery shopping and not walking away with $300 for one person. I know it seems like a lot, but I wanted to find a way. I knew it could be possible. And I knew that the TV shows were not all myth. So I tried. My first trip, I walked away with $120 worth of products that I spent $40 for.
Wow.
I left the store with my shopping cart running to my car. Like, is someone gonna come get me? Like, did I break the law? Like, how is this possible? I had meat and vegetables and laundry detergent, which is like ridiculously priced. And I just kept at it, and I got better and better. The secret is reading your store's coupon policy. A lot of stores will double your coupons, and other stores will accept competitor coupons. So it's good to know the store's coupon policy and kind of what your rules are, what you're allowed to get away with.
So while couponing is a noble endeavor, in line behind the person with all the coupons? I'm sure you've got some looks before,
Yeah.
or people just kind of start tapping like, "Hey, I got,"
Yeah, so I like to go through self-checkout. It's a little bit
Oh,
more
okay.
painless. I can control it. I can keep myself organized.
Okay.
So for both reasons, so I don't have someone behind me like tapping their foot, and
Yeah.
also so that I can watch what I'm doing because it's a very detailed science. Like you have to pay attention. If you miss something, that could be like $10, $15
Yeah.
that you weren't expecting, and no one wants to be the person at the end of giving all their coupons thinking their bill was like 20 and then it ends up being 60 and you're like, where did I make a mistake?
Nice.
So yeah, I try to
Uh,
catch it in the beginning.
your city of residence.
I live in Raleigh,
How
not too
long?
far from campus. I moved the summer before my freshman year, so I was 17. So yeah, 5, 6 years now I've been in Raleigh.
Okay. All right. Your burning desire is to.
My burning desire is just to make sure that the world is a little bit better educated. I find that people don't know what they need to know, and I have a strong resource, my BNI team, just making sure that everyone that I come in contact with has the educational piece that they can get from my group. I have a lot of amazing people in our group.
And Brianna's group is RD09, Triangle's Best. They meet
Yeah,
there. I believe you're the only chapter right now that meets on Mondays at
really?
8:30. I think they're working on a second one, but
Okay.
8:30 a.m. at Family Legacy Solutions.
Yes.
So if you ever want to come down and catch a good Monday morning group, that would be the one.
That is the one, the only one that you would
There
want to
you
go
go.
to. Yes.
Your key to success.
Just staying on top of things, keeping myself organized. It's really important to stay organized, especially when you have, 300, 400 people that you're talking to every week. So I keep myself organized and ask for help when I need help.
My favorite question out of all this, something, and granted, there's be some new people here, haven't met you before, so something no one knows about you.
Something no one knows about me is that I'm a go-getter, and well, I'm sure a lot of people know that, but no one knows that I only applied to Meredith College. That was the school I was going to. There was no contingency plan. If I didn't get in, then I was gonna show up Monday morning with my books ready for class. I sure was.
So dad and grandma were okay with this move?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Confidence, right? Good
Yes.
GPA,
Yeah.
SAT scores and all
Mhm.
that. All right.
Yeah.
Glad it worked out for you.
Yeah, same.
So, all right. So you've been in the business not very long, which is always good. We like hearing BNI is a good mix of people that have been in there, not only in BNI, but in their industry for a long time, but also new people. And it gives you an understanding of what you've learned in the amount of time you've been in BNI and how it's helped you grow your chapter. You've helped yourself grow your business in your chapter. So you've been in insurance about what, a
So
year?
licensed and
Yes.
selling less than a year, but
Okay.
in insurance training and learning the industry over a year.
Okay. So talk about your office, how it's set up, kind of where you are, State of the Union with you as an insurance agent are doing right now.
Yeah, so we're all captive agents. We all have kind of our own book of business that we try to keep going and bring more business into. Um, each agent can qualify for additional assistance that the company will then pay for. But you need the production to qualify for that. So that's kind of where I'm heading.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how many people in your office?
There's two branches that are in my office. So
Okay.
on my side of the team, I think there's less than 10 or 11.
All right.
And on the other side, there's maybe 15, 18.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how did you first get introduced to BNI?
So I went to a speed networking thing because my boss was like, you need to focus on sourcing, find people who can help you generate the business that you're looking for. And I went to a speed networking thing. I think the ticket was like $20, and it was just a shot in the dark. I really didn't know what to expect. It sounded fun. I've never speed dated before, so I was like, I'm never gonna do that. But this is a good way to see what it's like
Sure.
to get to know someone in 3 minutes. And I met Adam Rodriguez, who is with CPI Security, and he is in a chapter in Fuquay. And he mentioned that BNI was awesome. Steve Hand was there
Very
at the
nice.
speed networking thing, of course. Steve's everywhere.
Yes.
And I got the opportunity to meet him, and it was maybe 2 weeks later that he was inviting me to Terrence Boykin, our realtor's new chapter that he was starting up. I got to where we were meeting, and there were 3 of us there. I got really warm connections with everyone, liked the vibe everyone was giving me, and then put my application in that day.
And in a traditional BNI chapter, the hot seats are the realtor, the mortgage broker, and the PNC insurance seat.
Yes.
And when any one of those seats come open, it is a nice recruiting battle. It's very good for the chapter because they can pick the best person for the chapter. So it's
Mhm.
kind of nice to have 2 or 3, 4 people to choose from. What did you do? What did you think you had to do to separate yourself from the other 2 people that were applying?
Just mean what I say and say what I do, just or you know what I mean.
Mhm.
Just do what I say I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
It was really important to prove myself, because I was very new in the
Mhm.
industry. So I knew a lot about what I needed to do for the industry, but maybe products I was still working on learning. So I guess I was really honest about what I can do, what I can't do. I could have taken the life seat as well. I am licensed in life
Okay.
insurance, but I bowed out to that one as well, saying, maybe there's somebody more qualified that can service the group better because I wanna focus on growing my property and casualty business, and, I think that's what it was, just the honesty,
Okay.
"This is what I can do, this is what I wanna do, this is how I can help," and it worked. Everyone liked the way it sounded.
So is that the only chapter you visited?
Yeah.
Okay. Very
Well, I
nice.
visited another chapter that had another PNC person, but I visited just to see kind of what the
Yeah.
layout of BNI was, but I knew walking into that group that I would not be joining the group that I visited
Yeah.
before our group, yeah.
So when you left your first meeting, not before you got accepted, but
Mhm.
just your first meeting in chapter, what were your takeaways about
I
holy
was so
cow?
excited. I was so excited, one, because if you haven't met Terrence Boykin, our residential realtor, he's amazing. He's super dialed in to his network, and he has a lot of goals for himself. So I was excited that I had the opportunity to work with somebody who had as big of goals as I had for myself. The creativity from everybody in the group had me really excited. And I was just racking my brain, like, "Who can I bring here? Who else would benefit from this?" And, just swarms of names started coming to me of people that would benefit from it and started inviting, and the chapter just kinda grew from there.
Yeah. So what kind of things did you put into place once you joined the chapter from a marketing standpoint, sales standpoint?
Mhm.
What kind of things did you put into place knowing the connections you have in that room?
So I knew that I needed to focus more on my marketing, so I put blocks in my schedule for, when I could set aside time for BNI. So the first hour after BNI is usually when I reach out to, people who I met at the group, say thank you for coming and, invite them to coffee, just so I can get to know them better. And then secondly, I added time on my schedule for marketing on LinkedIn and Facebook so that I could remember to post all of the great things that I got from BNI as well as continue to market myself to those connections that I'm getting from the so they can my
Yes.
60 seconds isn't enough to
No,
know
no,
how
no.
awesome I am,
Yeah,
so
there you go.
I
I like
I've
that.
I've gotta keep putting it out there on
But a
LinkedIn.
lot of people don't do that. They just feel like, "Well, I met 3 people today. That was a good day," and they take no advantage of social media.
Oh, no.
And you're way behind the 8 ball if you're not these days.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And there are, what, 17,000 insurance agents probably in the triangle that you have to
Yeah,
compete
there's
against?
quite a few.
So, what do you tell people that separates you from them?
I take a full comprehensive approach when I talk to my clients. I don't match coverage with coverage. If you have had a policy that hasn't been reviewed in the last 2 years, or if I say, "Tell me what your bodily injury limits are," and somebody does not know, that raises a red flag for me. And I like to go through and ask questions. And I find that people get a little bit intimidated by it, but by the end of the conversation, they really enjoy that I've kind of questioned
Mhm.
them on why because it allows me to provide that education to them. So, why were these bodily injury limits selected? When were they selected and by who? Did you choose these? Did this sound like a good idea for you? Or did someone tell you this is what you need? And I take that approach with every single person I talk to. It doesn't matter if you're 70 and you've been driving for 55 years, does your coverage still make sense for the part of your
Yeah.
life that you're in? Has anything changed for you in the last 2
Oh,
years?
yeah. I
Yeah.
got a new grandson.
Exactly,
Yeah.
yeah, so stuff changes on a regular basis, and we just need to make sure that we have the coverage in place so that when life changes, you're still protected.
And the consumer
Mhm.
can be their own worst enemy. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, my car's covered.
Mhm. Yeah, I've got
With
full
what? Yeah.
coverage. What does that mean? What does it mean? Does it mean if you get in an accident, your company is gonna pay the full amount of the accident, or how much are you responsible for? You know, I've had clients that have had roof claims and living on a very minimal budget, but when they first qualified to purchase this new home, they had a very small budget. They were maybe just barely qualifying for the loan. So they were like, I want the most basic insurance policy I can get. So what that means to the customer is no personal property replacement costs. So when they lose items, they get the actual cash value of what their items are. And it means a high deductible. So you get customers that their deductible is 2,500 and they're like, I don't have that much money. How am I supposed
Yeah.
to get my roof fixed? And that's where that education, pulls in and ask, why was this chosen? Why do you have a $2,500 deductible? If you're struggling to make, and no offense, but if you're struggling to make your $50 car payments, what's going to happen when you have a claim on your home and your deductible is $2,500? How are you going to do that?
Oh, yeah. So BNI is, we got about 40 chapters all throughout the triangle. If you want to get in touch with them, please come visit a chapter. Whether you're starting a business, growing a business, or know somebody that is doing one of those two and just wants to learn a little bit more, you can call the office at 919-465-1667, or you can shoot them an email, Steve, Mary, or Brenda, trianglebni@yahoo.com. They'll answer any questions you have, invite you to a chapter, help you find one that might be to your liking, because it's crucial that you have seats in there that make sense for you as referral
Mhm.
partners. So what have you learned? Obviously, the realtor was a key seat for you. You
Mhm.
need that good relationship. What has surprised you about a particular seat that somebody owned? And also in BNI, it's seat specific. So it's that's another plus for joining BNIs. There's only one
Mhm.
property and casual insurance person in the chapter, so
Mhm.
all the referrals go to you.
Mhm.
So did a relationship come with another person in a seat that you probably didn't see coming, first of all?
Yeah, so Susan Beavers is our health insurance provider. She's with US Health Advisors, and I did not expect the majority of my closed business referrals have come from Susan. And a lot of the referrals that she's received and has closed have come from me. And I guess I didn't expect that because I figured, when am I ever going to have a chance to talk to my customers about their health insurance? And if I'm talking about their car, how willing are they gonna be to give me answers on what their health insurance coverage is like? Are they happy with it?
Mm.
And could there be room for improvement? So I didn't expect that, but Susan has turned out to be a very, I couldn't do it without her, kind
Yeah.
of referral partner.
And as a member of BNI also, it teaches you to listen, first of all, because givers gain, but it teaches you to listen, then ask questions. I was at a client's house the other day,
Mhm.
just taking care of some business there, spraying for mosquitoes. And we just kind of talking. You build up the relationship over time. He's a Yankees fan. He's got a new kid. Of course, I'm showing everybody the picture of
Of
my grandson, all
course.
that. So we're talking stuff. And I just, I try to leave there saying, if there's any other things you need with your house, I've got referral
Mhm.
partners I know. And he said, I need a carpet cleaner and
Mhm.
I need a grout cleaner. Called my carpet cleaner, Julie and Tony Smith at Steam Pro,
Mhm.
and got them on. She got on the phone with them the next day. But just stuff like that
Mhm.
that's the beauty of being I just teach you to listen now so
Mhm.
you can help.
Yeah. I mean, it's a matter of adding 1 or 2 more questions into the
Mhm.
15 or 20 that I already go through. 1 or 2 questions, 2 or 3 minutes out of their time, they're not gonna really care about. They're not really gonna miss it. But what they will miss is if they needed to downsize and they needed to work with a really good realtor,
Yeah.
and if they didn't get to meet Terrence, that's where they miss out.
Yes, exactly. So one of the things you were talking about earlier with homeowners policy, I did not learn till I got into the small business world that if you have pick somebody an air conditioning person, and a carpet cleaner, anybody coming into your house, if they get hurt and they don't have insurance, your homeowners policy pays for that. And
Yes.
I had no idea that that was the case.
Yes.
So it's always good to ask somebody. And here's the funny part of this. I know you've seen this because we get this question too. People
Mhm.
go, you're insured, right? And we are. And I say, yes. And they go, oh, okay. No, 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 no. You need to ask for
Yeah.
something a little bit
Give
more.
me proof.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I did not know that. And you get
Mhm.
roofers and,
Mhm.
somebody gets
There are
shocked
a
with
lot
something
of
or fall
people
off a
that are
hood.
not bonded and insured.
Oh, yeah. They'll tell you they are. They probably put it on their truck, bonded, insured. Well,
Mhm.
produce
With
the
who?
paperwork. Yeah.
Show me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, leadership team in your chapter. You are involved in that.
Yes. I
Yes.
have 2 roles. So I'm the visitors host, so I always say I'm the hostess with the
There you
mostest.
go.
I am the one who greets you when you come in the door, so when you're coming on Monday, come check me out. I'll be there bright and early. I usually get there about an hour ahead of time to set up the room, make sure it's perfect. But I get everyone oriented, get them introduced to the person in the group that they should really get a chance to meet and work more with outside of the BNI group. And I'm also the mentor coordinator. So I make sure that everyone in our group has the resources that they need from BNI to make sure that they are getting their money's worth, their time's worth, and just to make sure that, you know, the process is being done the way that BNI expects it to be done.
And we've seen people join BNI and they don't activate it. They just show up each week and they figure, oh, I'll just get 2 or 3 referrals every week
It
because
doesn't work
I'm
like
cool and
that.
everybody
No.
likes me. It's like it does not. But if they activate it, you
Mhm.
quickly see the jump in the numbers, don't you?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So
Yeah. If you're involved
yeah,
and you're not there because your boss paid you to be there and they're hoping to get something out of it, you
Yeah.
know, if you're not giver's gain, you know, if you're not there to give as much as you're expecting to get, it's not going to work for you. And one of the first things, you asked me this question earlier, and I should have said this. One of the first things that I wanted to do when I joined the BNI group was identify every single person, what their business was, make sure I understood their business,
Mhm.
and then go through all the list of customers I had just worked with, maybe 30 last month, and figure out a place where I could have asked them a question to help that person.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And once I identified that, that's when Susan and I relationship went up.
Okay.
Yeah, that's when everything just started going the way it needed to go.
Well, and that's one of the beauties of BNI is you walk in, we've got 25 in my chapter, and I've got 24 other salespeople to help me because a lot of people in BNI are solopreneurs. So it's tough to go out and work your business and
Mhm.
sell your business
Mhm.
in those situations. So I got 24 other people looking out for me, and
Mhm.
just another reason to
Yeah,
join BNI. Would you not
absolutely.
agree?
Oh, absolutely.
And visitor host, a lot of people don't get the value of that job because you get to meet everybody. You're probably
Every
the
single
only
person.
one at each meeting that gets to meet every visitor.
Yes.
And it's just wonderful for business
Yes,
because
it
they see
is.
you, they see your face, they ask you what you do, and
Mhm.
then you see
How
them.
does this work? What
Yeah.
do I do? How do I do
Yeah.
this? I don't know.
You see that look
Yeah.
before. Yeah. People
Yeah.
walk in and just,
People
you,
walk in and just stand like,
I,
I'm here.
or my boss
What
said
did
I
I
needed
just
to
get
come here.
invited to? You know? But then by the end, they're like, oh my gosh, like this
Yeah.
is so great. When are you guys doing this again? Next Monday,
Yeah.
8:30, right here.
Yeah. And you want people to think of it as I try to tell people, just think of it as a client, not
Mhm.
18 or 25 individuals or a meeting. Because if
Mhm.
you look at it that way,
It's
and I think a
intimidating.
lot of people in B&I will say that it's conservatively worth at least 25% of their bottom line.
Right.
And so if you had another client that was worth 25% of your bottom line and they said, hey, every Tuesday, Brianna, we're meeting at Starbucks or pick a place for
Mhm.
coffee to talk about my business, guess where you're going to be every
Oh
Tuesday?
yeah, absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
couple things on your bio that I wanted to dig into. We fill out a gains profile. So when you do have a one-to-one with somebody in your chapter or somebody in BNI, they can read through this so you can kind of get some questions, get a feel for the person instead of spending the first 30 minutes talking about, hey, tell me about your life. Oh, you tell me
Mhm.
about your life. Instead of getting down to the business, who do you know?
Yes.
So goals to earn sales rep 2 promotion by December 2018.
Yes.
A, are you on track?
Absolutely am on
B,
track.
what does that mean to those of us not in the
Yeah.
insurance world?
So I talked about qualifying for assistants and that there were assistants that work with some of the reps in my office. To qualify for one, I have to be a sales rep 2, have the production, but I also need to be sales rep 2 for a whole year before I can be promoted to lead sales rep.
Okay.
The ultimate goal is just to get my own office and have my own entire
Mhm.
room that I can just hang out in and meet my clients in, but you know, that'll take me about 10, 15 years to achieve that. So sales rep 2 is my first one, just knocking them all down as I go.
Okay, I like
Yeah.
that. And under accomplishments, which a lot of people are hesitant to brag about, but I'm glad you do, 12-time Carolina Closers Club winner.
Yeah.
Do tell.
So Carolina Closers Club is designed for reps in the office who meet their production goals. The standard is 10. So if you're selling 10 policies a week, then you qualify for Carolina Closers. So if you do, I mean, that's 120 policies in one year up until this point. I mean, company likes the way that
Oh,
sounds.
yeah.
So they like to reward us for it. And I always like to, I don't like to compare myself to people in my same tenure. I like to go after the bigger goose before me, So I compare my number to sales reps to sales
Okay.
rep to professionals, and um, on the closer board is where I can see kind of where they're at, where I'm at, and know what I need to do to get ahead of them.
And who sets that goal? The monthly goal, the annual goal?
We set our goals ourselves. Of course, the home office, they want a certain amount of
They'll
production,
tell you if you're
but anyone in the insurance agents industry will tell you, you decide how much you want to make.
okay.
You can control how many calls you make, how many customers you follow up with, how many networking events you go to, fill the funnel, so to speak. So I personally set my goals. Like, my goal this year, home office goal was 5, mine was 20. Like, my goals are way over what home office is asking me for.
And how have you changed that number since you
Absolutely.
joined BNI and kind of figured it out how it would work?
Oh, yeah. I not just because of BNI, but, there are different trips and stuff, Liberty Mutual sends us on, and maybe after the first quarter, I realized that I was not where I needed to be for the Aruba trip or wherever
Oh,
it
okay.
is. I think it's,
Right.
Atlantis.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
Atlantis
Oh,
this
yeah.
year. So I realized I was not where I wanted to be, that there were things I could do to fix it.
Okay.
So I started funneling more time into BNI. That 2 hours turned into 4 hours a week. All it is
It's
a Saturday, a Saturday to send emails.
yeah.
And that's just kind of what I did.
So the gains profile, going back to this, explains a lot about who we are and what we do. It's your goals, your accomplishments, your interests, your networks, and your
Mhm.
skills. And that makes up a lot of things. For example, under interest, a lot of times if you don't meet with somebody on a one-to-one,
Mhm.
you're like, well, I don't know anything about you.
Mhm.
I know you went to
Meredith,
Meredith
yeah.
and you're from Durham, but I see her once a week and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So one of the things on here that I always like looking for, and I tell people all the time, BNI is full of people that are very involved in the community, and you are
Mhm.
another one. What are some of the things you do inside the community?
So I love to volunteer. One of the networks that I'm a part of is the Raleigh Realtors Association, and we do a bunch of community service type product projects throughout the year. One that we most recently finished up was my journey bag. We put together duffel bags that were stuffed with shampoo, conditioner, body washes, toothbrush, toothpaste, basketballs, blankets, notebooks for children who are transitioning into foster care. Because
Mhm.
generally, there's no appointment. No one says, "Hey, I'm gonna come knock on your door and I'm gonna take your child out of your home." That's not expected. So what the social worker has is a 30-minute time frame to get the belongings that the child needs for the next week and get them out of the house, remove
Wow.
them.
Okay.
So my journey bag fills the duffel bag with what they need. Generally, their clothes are shoved in a trash bag, or, a Whole Foods bag, or Whole Foods doesn't have bags, Food Lion bag, and that's where their stuff is. So the child's memory is my belongings were thrown into a trash bag and I was removed from my parents. My journey bag gives them a duffel bag. It gives them some comforting items. There are some iPods, like little mini iPods that we put in them, just to make the transition a little bit more. It's not gonna be comfortable, but at least make it a little bit more peaceful and make you feel a little bit more like a person, especially for the older kids,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we did them anywhere from infant to 17 years old, and as a 17-year-old, that's just you don't wanna go to school the next day like that.
Yeah. How many different projects a year will the
I
organization look at?
think 12.
Okay.
Yeah, so I, volunteered 2 Wednesdays ago at the soup kitchen,
Mhm.
and that was a really, really fun experience. They, every single day at 11 to 12 o'clock, anyone and everyone can stand in line and get a hot, nourishing meal, no questions asked. You don't
Mhm.
have to be homeless. You could be I saw people there in business attire like what I wear daily, no questions asked. You get to sit down and eat a nice meal.
Yeah.
It was a lot of food too. I was like, "Oh my gosh, like, that's their whole meal?" There was, like, maybe 4 or 5 hot food items, there was a sandwich, a piece of pizza, a dessert, there was soup, drinks. I mean, I was like, "Gosh, this is like a 4-course meal," but but it's free, no questions
Mhm.
asked, and I felt good while I was doing it.
Does put things into perspective, doesn't
Yeah.
it? And makes you work a little harder.
Yeah,
Yeah, so you
and
can
from
help and
that
give back.
one thing, one of the, realtors that I was working with was like, "My son's gonna start driving soon, and I'm scared to death. I don't know what to expect. I know it's gonna be expensive. I have friends that have been in that position. Can I ask you for help?" And I was like, "Absolutely," but she would not have wanted to work with me, had we have not been in
Mhm.
that same and it's kinda like how BNI is, like,
Oh, yeah.
I get questions all the time, like, "Does this sound right? My agent just sent me this letter. Does this look right?" And I can kinda help.
So I guess one of the first things you want from somebody is just a chance to look over their policy,
Yeah.
right? It's about
I
your
want
first
5
ask, right?
minutes of their time just to make sure that they're getting the best value. And if they are, I'll be the first person to say, "You look good where you're at.
Mhm.
Here might be some minor suggestions since you mentioned this coverage was important to you. I don't see that this coverage is available on your current policy. Ask about that. But price-wise, even with the coverage, we don't look like we're gonna be competitive. That's fine."
Is there a constant glaring thing that just jumps out at you when you kind of spend 5 minutes to look over a policy, where we as the consumers are just woefully short?
Yeah, so if someone has state minimum insurance, which we kinda talked about a little bit
Mhm.
earlier, in the state of North Carolina, they only require that you have 30,000 per person, 60,000 per incident bodily injury coverage, and a minimum of 25,000 property damage coverage. So what that means is, if you get in an accident and you're at fault, you get in your car and you're driving and you hit the Bentley in front of you. You total the Bentley because, it's got backup cameras, all sorts of safety features, which you can rear end somebody and just the safety camera can total the vehicle on some of these.
Really?
Oh, yeah, because they're expensive. They're expensive technologies to have. If you run into that Bentley, maybe it's $50,000, $60,000 car, and you total it, your policy said, "We did our part. We paid 25,000. Go after the insured." So what that means to you as a yeah, as the at fault driver is you need to come up with the other $45,000 to replace the Bentley you just totaled. And a lot of the people that are maybe driving with that minimum coverage don't realize that. And
No.
they don't realize it until they get into that accident. And then it's too late because you can't say, "Can I call and up my insurance coverage effective yesterday?"
Yeah.
It doesn't work like that. So
And we're talking earlier just about the levels of coverage, and sometimes it's to well, most of the time it's to protect yourself, but
mhm,
sometimes it truly is if you're telling a story earlier about an uninsured motorist hitting you,
mhm.
you're on your own, right?
Yeah, yeah, so my dad was rear-ended by someone, was driving his girlfriend's car, and the girlfriend had let the insurance on the car lapse, and he personally had no insurance. So, generally speaking, the insurance on the car would've went first and then the driver. Neither of them had insurance, so luckily, my dad was insured enough on his policy that his bodily injury was taken care of. He was able to go to the doctor and seek medical help, and returning visits, just continue to add up the medical debt, but his policy was able to pay for that as well as the damage to his vehicle.
Are people more likely to over or under cover or over under insure the car versus the house? Is there any trend to that?
Mm, I feel like with their house, people are a little bit more like, "Okay, like, I don't wanna be stuck in a position." Homeownership, it's just so stressful anyway, just the thought of knowing if something happens, like, I can't call a landlord to fix this.
Yes.
So I think that people are less open to less coverage on the home than they are on the car, or maybe I've seen where they will sacrifice coverage on the auto to allow more coverage on the home. Um, at the end of the day, nobody wants to make the decision to have less coverage. It's just one of those kind of finance bound kind of decisions that
Mhm.
have to be made in some circumstances. Um, in my opinion, you can't over I know you went to say overinsure. In my opinion, you can't
True.
overinsure.
True.
Um, but, because there's always those what ifs, what if I kill somebody?
Mhm.
What if, kind of
Oh, yeah.
questions that,
And
yeah.
I know a lot of people feel like, well, and again, we think we know what we have covered, and a lot of us just we really don't. We just throw out a number like, "Oh, I've got this," and just kind of
Yeah,
puff up your chest, all that. You're
yeah.
not probably not even
So
close.
one of my first questions is, "Tell me about your bodily injury limits." And people will
Uh,
say, "Oh, I've got full coverage," which has, like, I mean, it does have something to do with the bodily injury limits, but it's not what I'm asking. What I'm asking is, do you have that 30/60? Do you know that you have that 30/60, or do you know that you have higher or better than the lowest that you're allowed to by North Carolina law? And I'd probably say 90%, 93 even. I could say even 95% are like, I've got full coverage. Oh, I've got liability. But well, what does that mean? Is my next
I don't
question.
know, but it's the answer I've been saying for 8
Yes.
years.
So can you tell me what that means is usually my second
No,
question.
we can't.
And they're like, that my car is fully covered? Like,
Mm.
no, even full coverage doesn't mean that. So, yeah.
And I know a lot of us feel like our homeowners covers the contents of the house, which it does.
Mhm.
But if you've got very nice jewelry,
Mhm.
paintings, things like that, you would probably want to look to get those additionally insured, correct?
Yes. Mhm. For sure.
And
Yeah. And it's called scheduling property, and you can pull it up online on the insurance website and see what the basic policy covers, but when they send you that 100-page, 60-page packet of, the legal talk of what your policy covers, you need to look at what your property is valued at and what it's covered at.
before I moved back up here, lived in Florida for 10 years and never really had to deal with a hurricane. So the first one that came through was like,
Oh,
huh, that's interesting.
yes.
And it was just beat into my head by my insurance guy. He goes, just videotape everything in your house. Just walk around
Yes,
the
yes,
house,
take pictures.
right? Just to have that.
We actually have a home protector app where you can go and take pictures of all of your, like, electronics and record the serial number. So that's you can do that, like, maybe once a quarter, but anytime you add new things into the home, you
Yeah.
wanna
Or if you move.
yes, you wanna do that for
Do you
sure.
accept a picture of a sealed box that's been through 2 moves that you have no idea what's in there? Can you? No, can't roll the dice on that
Yeah,
because we
no.
all have 3 of those.
Yeah,
And I think the
yeah.
rule is you're supposed to throw it away
Yeah,
after
I
2
mean,
moves, right?
for the most part, we kinda take your word for what you say you
Mhm.
have, but if you start saying, "Oh, I've got $3,000 in cash in this trunk," like, well, you're not getting that back, you shoulda put that into something better.
You deserve
Yeah,
what you get if you got cash in your trunk,
yeah,
yes. So another one of your accomplishments is 8 consecutive time winner of pace setters.
yeah,
What is that?
so Pacesetters is just the company setting the pace for yourself. So they expect you to, kind of go up and up and up and up. It starts low, but the point of pace setters is to continue to grow with the company. So the fact that I did it the first time was really exciting. But when I started hitting, 5, 6, 7, 8, that's 8 consecutive months that I've been on plan selling for commission. That I have hit the numbers I said I was going to hit and more.
And again, another reason to join BNI, and we ask that you give our office here a call, talk to Steve, Mary, or Brenda at 919-465-1667. When you are 100% commission, take all the help you can get, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. When Steve told me, "Do you want a band of 40 people that will go out and promote your business?" Like, for for what BNI costs, I mean, it's a steal. I expected it to be much more expensive, honestly. When I got
Yeah.
when I got the kind of what we expect you to pay kind of thing, I was like, "Wow, $600 for a year? Like,
Yeah.
I can't beat that."
No, that's a couple
Yeah.
referrals for people, depending on
Yeah.
what industry you're in. And
Yeah.
we've had home builders in here and realtors in here, and that's a tiny one for them.
Yeah, for a realtor,
So,
you sell one house, you made your money.
yeah.
I tell people all the time when they're like, "Well, why would I do this?" And I'm like, "Look, I understand the financial burden. $600, I get it.
Mhm.
I get it. But how many roofs do you have to replace to make $600?"
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
For me, I have to do quite a few more policies, but in my time with BNI, I have made my $600 at least 12 times.
Oh, yeah.
At
Yep.
least 12 times.
Yep.
And we just kicked off our chapter, not that long ago.
And it
November,
yep.
November.
And when you do join, it's a $150 fee, and then it's $445 a year. And if you break that down, that's what, 35, $38 a month. And if you
Mhm.
break it down even more, we're looking at $10 a week to market, which you're going to do anyways, probably
Yes.
if you want to grow your
Yeah.
company.
Yeah.
So why would you not do
Yeah.
that? And people are going to bring referrals to you
Mm.
if they get to know you.
Mhm.
So it's always interesting in BNI when you try to explain. We're all good at standing up telling what we do.
Mhm.
And a lot of times, we have to say what we don't do. Like, I'm not gonna go up in the attic and chase a rabid raccoon. You don't have enough zeros in your bank account. I've got somebody
Yes.
for you to call.
Yes.
But the other thing I like when people do when they have their 10 minutes is talk about myths in their profession because we all have them, whether you're
Yes.
lawyer, teacher, doctor, pest
Mhm.
control, insurance, and all that stuff. So give us a couple in the insurance world that matter to the customer that we need to listen for.
So property and casualty specific, it I talked about state minimum coverage. The next jump up for most people is like $5 a month. To double your coverage, to have twice as much bodily injury coverage if you hurt somebody, it's like $5 a month.
Mhm.
People expect, oh, well, if I'm going to have a lot of insurance, it's going to be a lot of money.
Yeah.
You talked about protection on the house, someone falling off the
Mhm.
roof and getting hurt. Liability insurance is one of the cheapest things you can buy. Most policies for homeowners are 300,000 is what, most people recommend. I'll max it out to a million. Do you want to know what the difference is for 300,000 to a million? $8.
A year or a
A
month?
year.
You're
A
kidding,
year. Not a month.
right?
$8 a year
Right?
for more than 3 times the coverage.
So if they visited your chapter every Monday and heard you talk about that, not
Mhm.
only would they be smarter, but they'd probably have
They probably
$1,000,000
go home and
coverage
pull out their
because yeah,
policy.
like, I gotta get Brianna to go to yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and people don't realize that. It's one of the biggest myths is that it's gonna be more expensive to insure yourself to
Oh,
what
yeah.
your family deserves. It's really not.
Yeah.
It might be 5 or $10, but for the example I gave earlier, you crashing into the Bentley, how many years is it gonna take you to come up with $45,000?
Ooh, be a
You know?
while. For a
You
lot of
know?
people, be a while.
I would have rather paid 5, 6, $7 more a month, 10, $20 more a month to not have to $45,000 bill over my head, not to have, it it be threatened that my wages be garnished or have it threatened that my home be taken out from under me.
Oh, and I'm sure you've heard stories from people after something has happened,
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's the look on their face like, "I should have done
Mhm,
fill in the blank."
mhm. Yeah, one of the things that I tell myself every day is, tell them the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Mhm.
I don't ever want somebody to call me and say, "Why didn't you tell me that?
Yeah.
Why didn't you tell me that?" It's no.
Information is king.
Yeah, knowledge is key for
Yeah,
sure.
and you feel like if you have all the information, you could make a rational decision.
Yeah,
But if you get all that
exactly. And on the same side, life insurance wise, people expect that life insurance is going to be so expensive. I say outside of work, what policy do you have that you control, that you operate, that if you leave your job tomorrow, your boss makes you mad, you walk out the door, what do you have?
Mhm.
People are like, "Oh, well, I've got it through work, so we don't even need to talk about it." Okay, so what really
Yeah.
happens if you leave your job or your job leaves you, and then you get mad and you get in a car accident and you die?
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Got
People
nothing for the
expect that
family.
life insurance is gonna be really expensive too, when, as little as $10, $15 a month, most people smoking or
Yeah.
McDonald's habit, coffee habit can protect
Yeah,
their
I'm a
family.
regular decaf guy, so I'm
Yeah.
not I hear stories about Starbucks and
Yeah.
and I
I
hear
don't drink coffee either,
5.50.
so
Yeah, it's like,
yeah,
"No,
no.
just give me the $2 cup. I'll put some cream in and stuff like that." Now you get to other foods and stuff like that's another story, but on the coffee end, so
Yeah, I'll pass on the coffee, but definitely pass me the cupcake.
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I'm with you. So what kinda jump in your revenue, just percentage-wise, do you think BNI has added?
So on every single policy that I sell, I track the source
Mhm.
and I scroll through it all the time. And when I started BNI, I was probably 20% referrals. That's just customer referrals. I'm 45% referrals now with BNI. That's customer and BNI referrals. But to have 45% of my business as an insurance agent not be from me pounding the phone and
Yeah.
making 1,000 phone calls a day or sending 1,000 emails from just people saying, "Hey, Brianna's awesome. You really
Mhm.
should give her a chance. Give her a call really quick." Yeah, BNI did a
So
lot for
minimum
me.
25% of your bottom line you
Yeah,
could credit to BNI after less than a year well, less than a year in the
yeah,
business, right?
yeah.
I hope people listening have heard that. So that's why you should come visit a BNI chapter, folks. That's
Yes,
exactly why that's the power it has
yes.
when you activate it. But you do, I know you're big on one-to-one, so you're getting
Mhm,
out there so the people in your chapter know how to sell you.
mhm. Yeah, it's really important that when you have a one-on-one, this is how I want to be mentioned. This is a
Mhm.
great way to introduce me. For example, a financial advisor. You're talking to your customers on how to protect their assets and how to continue to grow their assets for more time to come. you need to also tell them that they need to protect those assets.
Mm.
So that $1 million worth of liability that only will cost them $8 a year, they need to be on the phone with me seeing how that can be done. Simple.
It's yeah, again, we think we know how other industries work and we really don't, but stuff like that is good to know. So in your chapter, how long or how do you go about educating the individuals and the people in your and the even the visitors in your chapter?
Um, 10-minute
Mhm.
presentations, saying something different every week, not sharing the same story over and over again. I have so many customer interactions. I couldn't even go through all of them, the things that I could educate my chapter with, but just that kind of stuff.
Do you remember your first referral from BNI?
Oh, no. Can't say that I do. There's been so many.
There you go.
Yeah.
Good answer.
Yeah, there's been so many since that first one. The mortgage loan officer who joined my chapter was also at that speed networking event that I went to, and I didn't get a chance to meet him at the event. We were both on the seat where you sit put, and then everyone else was moving around, so we didn't get in front of each other, but Adam, the CPI guy, was like,
Mhm.
"Hey, did you see that mortgage loan officer over there? I know mortgage loan officers are good." So I went and I was like, "Brad, here's my card. Let's grab coffee." We grabbed coffee like the next Tuesday. This was on a Friday, so we grabbed coffee the next Tuesday. And by that following Monday, he was in our chapter, joined, and approved within a week later.
Very nice.
Yeah.
And
So,
you have in your group, you have a very seasoned veteran in Bill Davis, an
yes.
upcoming guest on the show. Bill had
Yes.
a wealth of knowledge
Yeah.
and
I
resources.
I can't wait to actually watch his interview. He's probably gonna blow me out of the water, and I'm gonna look like a silly goose, but he is so good at this.
He
He
is,
just he has
yeah.
been participating in BNI for just as long, if not longer, I believe, than Steve Hand, the director. I mean, they've
Oh,
known
yeah.
each
Oh,
other
yeah.
forever,
Yeah.
and I'm so jealous of how much they know each other.
You'll be there.
I
They're a little
know.
older than you.
I
You'll get there
know,
soon.
but gosh,
I
they're
always
so far ahead of me.
and with small business owners and you're actually even though you work for Liberty Mutual, you're
Yeah.
basically a small business
Yeah,
owner because you got your
absolutely.
own shingle and it's
Yeah.
all up to you. So I always
Yes.
consider people small
Yes.
business owners. Love to hear that aha moment when they know, I think I'm going to make it in this world.
Yeah.
When was yours for insurance? Have you had it yet?
I I think when I started looking at my performance, like I said, I don't compare myself to people in my tenure. I compare myself to the next step ahead, the senior sales reps, the lead sales reps. When I started seeing that I have the production of people that have been in our company for 15, 20 years and I'm just starting,
Mhm.
that's kind of where I was like, "Oh, I might
Yeah.
be doing something." Yeah.
What is and we talked about marketing earlier, and there's different ways. The goal is to get 100% referral. That's the
Mhm.
goal. But when we're all starting out, it just
Yeah.
doesn't work that way. So, what's a typical what kind of time each week do you give to marketing, and what different ways do you spend that on?
So I set aside like 2 hours to focus on Facebook and LinkedIn. I like to post um, educational pieces that I think would be good for people in my
Mm,
connection base, as well as for those people to like and show their connections can see those. Um, I like to post like "Did you knows" or "Ask me this" kind
yeah.
of things. Like, let me address some of these myths before I get your customer on the phone, so that maybe you can tell them too. And I like to, post the success that I'm having,
Mhm.
and that. So,
You
yeah.
still in the making phone call stage?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I think, in this industry, that's never going to stop.
Okay.
I'm always going to have to make phone calls. People don't wanna talk about their insurance. They don't want to switch. They expect that it's going to be harder than it is,
Mhm.
when all it is, "Okay, let's make this payment. Here is the letter to cancel with your current carrier. They will refund you what they need to refund you, and you're gonna save $300 this year." Like, that's not difficult
Yeah.
to save $300. I mean, process takes me, like, less than 10 minutes to do, but people expect it to be much harder than it is.
Yeah, and with caller ID, I'm sure you get a lot of voicemails, right?
Oh, yeah. I just
How do you get the list of phone numbers, who you call, and how do you know
so I do a lot of, like, events, so we'll do, like, expos or, like, charity runs and walks. Um, I have a few different accounts. So I have like living facility, assisted senior living facility that I work with to offer their employees additional discounts on their auto and home insurance. The company, like the facility itself, doesn't pay extra for that, but we
Mhm.
offer not only my consultative abilities, but also the discount, just so that we have access to the employees and make sure that they have what they need to make sure that their families are properly protected. Like, they're here to work, they're here to
Yeah.
make money, but have they put it where it needs to go so that if something bad happens, they're protected?
So your biggest client, without asking name or numbers, what all do they have with you?
So I have one family that has auto insurance for their 3 cars and their boat, or their jet ski, not boat, excuse me. They have their homeowner's insurance policy. They have a 2 million umbrella policy
Ooh,
because they have a lot of assets that they want to protect and they don't want to get in that accident where they hit the Bentley and then they're like, we gotta pay
20 years of
more
work
out of
gone, yeah.
our 401k. They also have a life insurance policy, permanent as well as term on both parents. So that's 4. And then 3 children each have a gift of life insurance policy that the parents will pay for 20 years, but
Mhm.
the children will have for their entire life $50,000 worth of permanent protection that can't be taken from them and grows cash value. So if they ever need to borrow from it to go to school or put a down payment on a car, they can do it.
And we've not even talked about an umbrella policy and how valuable that can be,
Yeah,
right?
gosh.
That's a whole nother
Yes, you
hour.
need an umbrella. Yeah, I could tell you horror stories.
So what kind of things are you doing to help your chapter grow?
So we working with the Meredith College Alumni Association. I have connections with the athletic department director, and there is a wellness coach, Kimball Sargent, and
Mm,
as
okay.
well as Susan from U.S. Health Advisors and John Martinez, who is our photographer. The 4 of us sat down and we're like, how can we get in front of someone that all 4 of us service so that we can just boom, 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 all in one bang, give them, our services and help those customers out. And it was the Meredith College Athletic Department. I was like, "Ding, that sounds like a good
Really?
idea." Because for me, college students need life insurance. They don't
Mhm.
know that they need life insurance, but if they don't have permanent life insurance now, the older they get, every year I can 100% guarantee them that it will be more expensive than it would have been the following year had they have got it in place. So that's how I can grow from it. Our photographer can grow from it because he can do mini senior
Mhm.
photo sessions or sports sessions, for these for the students and for the uh, sports team, and then also Susan, right when college kids are getting into college and getting out of college, that's when their parents are like, "You're on your own,
Yeah.
find your own health insurance." So she can help with
Mhm.
that, and then Kimball wants
Yeah.
to work with athletic
Kimball's good
people
stuff, yeah.
anyway,
Oh,
so
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
how she can work with them, and she does, like, fundraisers and stuff, so she could
Very
bring
active.
value, back
Very yeah,
to
very
the
active.
organization.
And that's again, that's what makes a successful chapter
Mhm,
is you got people who just sit down and come up with that idea, and even if it only helps 4 people,
mhm,
right?
yeah.
So this is mid-August already of
I can't
2018.
believe it's August.
So December of 2019,
Yes.
what's your small business gonna look like?
I will have my sales rep 2 promotion. My lead sales rep promotion will be coming into gear for January of 19, or I guess it's 20.
Yeah,
Yeah. So that's what it's gonna look like. I'm
okay.
I'm definitely hoping to have a sales associate by then. And I guess, revenue-wise, I'd like to have 300 policies, 400 policies per line.
So how can BNI help you get to that number?
Well, Terrence sells more houses.
That's all he has to do, right? Terrence, you're
Brad,
listening? Yeah.
yeah, Terrence sell more houses. Brad secure more loans. um, that's one way for sure, and another way is for me to continue feeding everyone in my group so
Mhm.
that it can kind of circle its way back around.
So for BNI, what would you tell folks if you looked in the camera and told them why they should be in BNI?
If I looked into the camera and I told someone why they should join BNI, it's because it's a room full of 25 to 40 professionals that know your business just as well as you do, so that they can get the people that you want to be in front of you. The only question that someone has to ask to refer, literally my client base is everyone. I can talk to
Mhm.
everyone about their insurance, everyone who drives a car, everyone who owns a home, everyone who has a physical body and needs to protect their body with life insurance. That's everyone. All that I need someone to ask is, do you have a home and life insurance? Are you happy with it?
Yeah.
Have
And
you reviewed it
well,
recently?
I'll just go in there,
You
like you
know?
said earlier, just you need 5 minutes. Somebody brings it
Yes.
into you in a meeting or something like that, you take you, yeah,
Yeah.
and you'll be able to ask a couple follow-up questions.
Yeah. Easy. Easy peasy lemon squeezy.
There you go. How big does your chapter want to grow?
We want to be the biggest and the bestest group. We're looking right now for um, a handyman, an electrician. We're looking for a wedding planner, a CPA. Like, gosh, if there's a CPA on this video right now, please join our group on Monday. We have so many referrals for a CPA, but they're all so busy that they
Yes.
can't get their butts in the seat.
Yep.
And that's what we need.
It's difficult for that chair.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we just took took 2 applications today for an at-home tutoring service, as well as home security.
Oh, very nice.
Yes.
Okay. Mhm.
We also need a pest control
Hmm.
company,
I've
if
heard they're
you
very
know
good to have.
anyone.
I've heard of a couple, yes. Let me get with my people on that. So,
Okay.
yeah. Anyways, Brianna's chapter is Triangle's Best. It meets Monday mornings at 8:30 at Family Legacy Solutions.
Yeah.
If you go to trianglebni.com, there's a drop-down box that says Find a Chapter. Click on that, and you'll be able to look for the day part, the part of the triangle location-wise where you live that makes it easier for you, time of day. Obviously, we're both morning people. We enjoy that. My chapter meets at 7:30, and I couldn't be happier because I'm out by 9:15. But also you can click on a chapter and it'll give you the list of all the people in there so you can make sure that they are good referral partners for you. So when you go visit, you'll have an idea who's in there. And again, we recommend that you talk to Steve or Mary or Brenda in the BNI office, 465-1667, trianglebni at yahoo.com. They will answer any and all questions for you. Wonderful people, BNI. I think each week you see great stories of seasoned veterans and new people like Brianna. And next week, we've got Josh Oliver with Marin's Moving. Same type of story, successful, has used BNI to grow the business. And I'm sure you've seen their trucks driving around town with the cows on them
Oh,
for Marin's
I love
Moving.
cows.
Yes. Anyways, but that's what we like to bring you each week. And so we'll see you next week with Josh Oliver and Marin's Moving.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by Telestream's Wirecast software, StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.